Hey, hi, and howdy, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. My name is Courtney, and I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, and I do food and kitchen content over here on YouTube, grocery hauls every week, what's for dinner videos, and sometimes I have some other videos that I throw up that are food and kitchen related. So if you like that, and I think you do because you're watching this video, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stick around and check out all of my content. So this week, I just kind of based my meals off of some things that I had in my deep freeze. I did a deep freeze clean out the other day, and there were some things in there that I wanted to use up. I have not participated in the pantry challenge this year. I really wanted to, but I've had other things going on, and I just haven't had time to kind of sit down and plan pantry meals. But this was kind of a pantry meal situation because I based this off of mostly things that I had on hand because I wanted to use up a few items. So first off, we are making these chimichurri bowls. These are based off of something that we had when we went to Disney World a couple of years ago. They were really, really good. I'm making a chimichurri sauce to start with, and I've got a whole bundle of parsley. It's a lot, but you know, once you like mix it up in a food processor, it really shrinks down. I also threw in 3 or 4 green onions, kind of just depending on your taste. I'll link an original recipe for chimichurri. It calls for garlic, but I really like the taste of green onions in there a little bit better. I also add in lots of olive oil or avocado oil, whatever kind of oil you cook with on a regular basis. You could even do like vegetable oil if you wanted to, but I really do think olive oil and avocado oil really are the best here. I add in some red wine vinegar for zing and a little bit of lemon juice as well. And then as far as dried herbs go, I do a little thyme and a little oregano. You really can kind of play with these flavors though. And then I start mixing it. So you can see right away, and this happens every time, I always have to adjust the amount of liquids. This particular time I'm using just regular parsley, but I find when I use Italian parsley, it does kind of blend up a little bit better and make a better sauce. So just keep that in mind. The Italian flat leaf parsley I think works better, but this is what the store had, so this is what we're going with. I'm kind of adding a few more liquids here because we do want this to kind of really mix up and form like a sauce. And so I do this a couple of times, just continuing to add mostly oil, but I do add a little bit more vinegar and or lemon juice just to kind of keep the flavor nice and zingy in this. It really is such a bright, beautiful sauce. It's kind of like a vinaigrette. It's very herby. It's really earthy because there's so much parsley in there, but you've got a lot of brightness from the lemon juice and a lot of zing from the red wine vinegar. And it's so, so good. This would be amazing on pretty much anything under the sun, I think, but I always pair it with steak for these bowls. But this is not, mandatory. You can really use any kind of meat you have. You got pork, go for it. I think pork chops would be really great. Chicken would be amazing. Shrimp. Oh, I think shrimp would be fabulous in these grain bowls. But like I said, I always do steak because when we went to Disney World, that is what I had. It was a grain bowl and it had sliced steak on it, and it had some sort of sauce that was very similar to a chimichurri. You can kind of just season your meat however you want. I am pretty basic with salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. Then I just cook my steak in a skillet to get a lot of color on it. You can do the same thing with chicken or shrimp. And then I'm using this bulgur and red quinoa mix that I have in my pantry. I love this stuff, but I've used regular couscous before. I've used rice. I've even used like the wild rice, Uncle Ben's wild rice blend before. And I just slice my meat thinly and put that on top of the grains and then add my chimichurri sauce on top. It is so, so good. You guys are gonna love this one, and it is something you can prep in advance and make like lunch bowls as well. All right, moving on, I'm gonna roast a chicken because I had a whole chicken in my deep freeze, and it's super cold, or it was super cold in Texas. We had that Arctic blast or whatever it was come through, and I just thought like a roasted chicken was gonna be so good. So I started off with what I wish would have been softened butter, but it's so cold that my butter wouldn't stay softened even on the countertop. So I put about 2 tablespoons or so of that butter in there. I added a little bit of minced parsley. I've got some lemon zest right there. I did save just a little bit that we'll use for something else in a second. And then I'm just adding in some seasonings, garlic powder, some pepper, a little bit of salt. You can kind of add in whatever you like. I like thyme in here as well. You could do poultry seasoning. That's fabulous. That's something I use at Thanksgiving when I do something similar with my turkey. And for chicken, I like to throw in paprika. I don't know why, but I think it just tastes really, really great. So once I have all my stuff in there, I just kind of really mix it and mash it together. And then here's my little chicken. It is thawed, and I removed like the neck and stuff from the inside. I'm just pulling up the skin and sliding some of that butter up underneath there. And that way it really seasons the meat from underneath the skin. It's great to season the skin too, but that doesn't get the meat flavored. So I kind of do this from the inside out. I'll put some underneath the skin on both ends. And then I will also put this inside of the cavity and do this all over your bird. Do it on the top, do it on the bottom, do it everywhere. Just so that it has plenty of awesome, wonderful flavor in it. And I did accidentally put my bird in, you'll see this when I cook it. I put it in upside down because I really was rushing to get it in there because I was working on some other projects. I've cooked my bird's breast side down before, and I will say, like, the perk of it is they are always so tender and so juicy. However, if you're looking for crispy skin to be sliced on top of your chicken breast, it's not going to happen if you do it breast side down. But juicy and tender, most definitely. Once I have everything shoved up under the skin, I just went ahead and threw the parsley, the loss of the butter inside of the cavity, and then about half of a very small onion that I had diced up, and that's going to really flavor that bird. Now you can also throw some lemons in there if you've got them. I meant to do that, but I just threw my lemons in the trash after I zested them and juiced them, so I didn't get to do that. I'm going to season the skin now. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I've got salt, I've got some pepper, of course, and then you can do onion and garlic powder. And I like to throw a little herbiness on top, so I did some thyme because I think thyme plays really well when you're doing things that have lemon in them. It kind of does have a little bit of like almost a lemony flavor to it. So I thought it was a really, really great match for this. But I made sure that the skin was nicely seasoned. And now I have a brand new Ninja Foodie because I accidentally dropped the lid to my last one and broke it. So we are using my brand new one today. This was the maiden voyage with it, if you will. In the bottom, I've added about 3/4 of a cup of water and the juice of 2 lemons. I left the seeds in there because we're not using this juice for anything, so I wasn't worried about it. And then I had a little bit of that lemon zest left on my microplane, so I went ahead and rinsed it off with a little bit of water to get it down in there. And the last of the parsley and the onion I threw in there as well. And this is just gonna be like a broth that steams it. Then I put in my little crisper tray. Now for the Ninja, it will do a steam and crisp setting on the new one, but I've done things similar in a slow cooker, just a traditional crock pot before, where I would prop my chicken up on aluminum foil balls so that it's not sitting at the very bottom and touching the bottom. And then I would just cook it on high for about 6 hours, and you will still get beautiful crispy skin on the outside. Not quite as crispy as if you do like an air fry version like this, but it's still really beautiful chicken. Or you can cook it in your slow cooker or pressure cooker and then pop it in your oven for about 30 minutes at 400 to crisp up that skin. It's just totally up to you, whichever method works for you. And I serve this with roasted carrots, a little bit of gravy, and some mac and cheese. And the gravy is just the gravy recipe that is with the KFC bowls. So I didn't do anything spectacular there. I didn't even use the drippings from the chicken. Finally, we're going to do Mississippi pot roast, and I really want to say that I bet a lot of y'all have seen this, but every time I list this recipe, I'm always surprised that there's people that haven't made it before, because I thought I was like the last person on earth to discover this recipe. So this is definitely a household favorite, and I did have a couple of roasts in my deep freeze. There's also Mississippi chicken, so you could do this with chicken, and I have done this in the past with pork roast before, which is absolutely fabulous. So you just put your meat in the bottom of your slow cooker, add in a ranch gravy packet and an au jus gravy packet. I make my own seasoning, so I just sprinkled them in there. And then the recipe calls for pepperoncinis, which I actually had today. You know, you put in the peppers and you put in the juice, but I've used banana peppers in the past, and I've used pickled jalapenos in the past, which is by far our favorite. So just use a pickled pepper of your choice. I also added about 1/4 cup of the juice from the pickled peppers. The recipe calls for a stick of butter. Traditionally, I would do about half a stick, but I just followed the recipe this time and added the entire stick in since I was filming this. And then you didn't see this because I forgot it, but I did add in 1 cup of water as well. So don't forget that, because you need it to make the gravy sauce. So this is after the roast has been slow cooking for about 5 hours or so. I went grocery shopping this day, and it is nice and soft and tender. You can see I've got my meat masher there, and I am just, it's falling apart. I mean, absolutely falling apart, and that is what you want. This meat is so packed full of flavor, and it is so tender and so juicy. It is crazy, crazy good. I mean, I'm always just blown away by this recipe, how simple it is, but how incredible it is. My entire family loves it. Now, a lot of people will serve this over mashed potatoes. Some people will cook vegetables with their roast. Our particular method is a little different because we like ours over noodles. If you haven't tried that, give it a shot. I think egg noodles would be fabulous, but my personal preference is always rotini, just because like it's got all the little swirls on it, you know, it's the corkscrew pasta, and I feel like the shreds of meat and the sauce just get trapped in that corkscrew pattern. It's perfect. It's so, so delicious. So I do have some of that cooking on my stovetop, but you can see how thick that sauce is. It's not runny. It's going to be perfect to coat our noodles. Now I'm used to always just cook my noodles and then add the sauce separately, but here over the last year or two when I've made pasta, I've tried to finish my noodles in my sauce, and I wanted to try that method with this dish. So I turned on the saute function to just like a medium, and I have my noodles that are not quite finished cooking. They're probably about 3 or 4 minutes shy of being done, and I added them into this Ninja Foodi. It's already bubbling and going, and I'm just going to stir them, and I reserved 1 cup of pasta water that I'm slowly going to add in and just let my noodles continue cooking in this sauce, and it just really cooks the sauce into the pasta. It gives you these silky smooth noodles, and it's so, so good. So I just did it that way. I think it's really, really nice if you can cook your pasta in your sauce. It just kind of gives it this beautiful flavor and a really velvety texture. The starch in the noodles comes through and just kind of helps the sauce along. It's just a great way to do things. But again, for years, I just served mine with noodles on the plate and I put a scoop of sauce on the top. So that works just fine as well. Anyway, this is me just continuing to kind of add in the last of my pasta water and stir and let the noodles finish cooking. It only takes a couple of minutes. And then I chose to serve this with some broccoli on the side because that's like our favorite vegetable. We're huge fans of broccoli. We also like green beans and cauliflower, so I'm pretty repetitive with the veggies you see served as side dishes in my house. Sorry about that. I just used a frozen bag of broccoli and pan sauteed it with some Italian seasoning and Parmesan cheese, and it was so, so good. That was dinner, and those are our meals this week. They were all fabulous. I will list or link all of the recipes down below so you can make them at home for your family. These are all winners, and they are so, so easy. Took no time at all. Hope you guys are having an awesome week, and I hope 2024 is treating you fabulously. Thanks so much for joining me here, and be sure to tune in Tuesday for my grocery haul, and I'll have a video out Thursday next week as well. See you there. Bye.